Hey guys, just in transit today. If your dash looks like this, then this video is going to be for you. This could maybe look a bit like different, but just obviously like look, if it looks about the same size and the AC vents are the same, should be around 2005 to 2014 should be the range. So as far as factory goes, pretty basic radio, big steering wheel controls here, and there's an auxiliary port under here. That's about all the factory options we've got. There isn't any reverse camera or anything like that. Now, to get these out, first step is to put the keys into here. So we'll include like 4 keys in the kit. They do look a bit like this. You just slot them into here. You gotta like, sort of wiggle them and like work it a bit, and then you'll finally see as you like pull them, it all comes out. I've already sort of pre-pulled this out a bit. You'll feel as you push them in, they like kind of go in. So I normally like push them in and sort of work like one side, and then like push them in and like work the other side. So we will include those keys in here. Then once it comes out, you just got plugs in the back here. It looks like it's going to be a little bit tight, so we'll just take out those. Hopefully you can sort of see there. I get it back about this far. Now these always have this cam lock type setup on them, so there's normally a little flap you got to pull to get it to come up. It'll be easy to flip it up this way. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's this little clip you got to like pull up, and then you can push this back. Comes out like so. This here is just a big antenna plug. Not 100% sure what that is, but that is like the back of it. And then if I show you in here, you can kind of see how these tools work. You can see they come in and they like push these lock tabs back. So that is how they go in and work. Let's quickly go through what you get in the kit. So obviously you get our like main unit here with like the face unit that's going to click in. It's the back of the unit. We've got our main 20-pin plug, auxiliary plugs, 4G FM AM antenna. So obviously you get that. You get a FM AM adapter, which I just actually dropped on the ground there. Some trim removal tools, OBD2 scan tool, so you can like pick up the engine data, hydration assistant, a 1080p reverse camera, USB to run the updates in the unit, a user manual, auxiliary, 2 USBs and external mic. This is like a different adapter for FM or AM that'll suit some models. Main adapter harness, which will keep all the factory options working. The camera input, so you can run like multiple cameras into here. Pre-outs if you want to run an aftermarket amp, a GPS antenna, a Bluetooth, a Wi-Fi antenna, external microphone, a 4G antenna, a SIM card for the 4G, auxiliary input in. This gives you like a third camera input, and there's like sound for auxiliary, and a third USB port. Now the first thing we want to do is just want to check that the unit's going to like power, our cables are working. So I normally put like these plugs in, as these plugs are going to like stay in there. So that's our Bluetooth one, our Wi-Fi, and that's our camera input. And we just grab our cable here, and we're going to plug this into here and just check that everything's like working and power it up. Alright, so I've just put our FM AM adapter into there that's like pushes in forward. Then you want to grab the adapter cable here, and obviously the small pins go on the bottom and the big ones go at the top. So when you slide this in, you just sort of push it in, and then the cam lock comes down at the same time like that. It should click in like nicely. That means that no pins have bent or anything. That's how you want to go in. And then basically we want to grab this and plug it into here, and then this and plug it in AM plug on the other side here, and then we can just set the unit in here and just see if we get some power and sound. That's basically all we're after, and that'll show us that our harness is correct. So we got power, that's good. It'll just slow boot up the first time because we don't have any, because it would like normally go into sleep mode. So we'll just check this out. Now we basically want to check sound, power, AM and steering wheel controls. Reverse camera would be like one of them too if we did have a reverse camera. So we got sound coming in, we got a radio coming in, we've got our like steering wheel controls are working there, you can see. So that and that. The only other thing I sometimes just like to check is if there's a trigger on the CAN bus, and there is a trigger on the CAN bus in this car, which is like pretty neat. So some people could have it's like a model that has like a factory camera, but this is because our unit, as I talking to the car's like system, it can like pick up the trigger, hence where it gets the steering wheel controls from. So that's all good. Basically what we'll do now is we'll install the other cables that are like needed and get it all ready to go in, and then we'll start doing the reverse camera. So we're just going to put all our extra cables in now. So there'll be a few we want to run through to the glove box. And you can see straight away this is going to be a bit more of a difficult one because it's got a plastic surround in here, so you're going to have to get cables tucked in behind there, which is going to be a job for basically a cable puller, a coat hanger, anything long you can get, because we do want to put a few things into the side here. So we've got our auxiliary port here. Here we're just going to put this into our red and like yellow. That's going to auxiliary port working. Got our here. So you just want to have a clear view of the sky without any like metal above it. So the problem when you've got a storage container over the top here is if you put it here and you put something sort of metal above it, it is going to affect it. If you like just put, for example, like a book above it, it isn't going to like affect it at all. Yeah, so on here you got storage. So ideally you'd want to get it back here a bit further. Might be a case that we end up like actually running it out this side and putting it on top of the dash or the windscreen to get a better connection. So I'll leave that one to the side at the moment. Our 4G one, that is not so important to have in a good spot, because it's a bit like when you have your phone in the car, it like works whether even if it's on the floor or something. So just like stick it on the top at the back there. So, and that's your 4G. So that's if you do want to use a SIM card in it. Some people do, some people don't. And then pretty much everything else we have to run externally. So just I pulled this trim off here, push down, I pull out a little bit, and that trim will pop off. No tools needed to get that off. And then we've actually used a cable puller. I will include one in the kit, hopefully, just like that, because just like saves you having to take things off. If you don't have it, a piece of wire or something will do, but you pull out the GPS there and like the microphone up here. So like normally I just like tape this onto the other wire at like one point, just to start, because I'll end up putting that there, and then I'll follow this in the other like wire track here and tape it in, and like to do the same. Come down here, past the steering wheel, and then it kind of goes up into here. We use the wire puller again, and then I pulled them out through there, and they just come in the back there. So that is our GPS and auxiliary, and then we'll probably have to do the same on the other side to get some things into the glove box. So the other glove box, if you just like push it either side, you can like pop it past the bumpers and it will come down, and then when you're at the very bottom there, you can just I'll pull it out of its clips here. So we've like pulled it out. You can see actually this clip's broken. I've zip tied it in, but it does the job. And we've fed through our 2 USBs, our like SIM card, into the glove box here, so they'll be nice and tidy in here. One of them will be using it to run a tyre pressure system, and the other ones you can use for charging or other stuff. This you can obviously put a SIM card into. A cable puller went through up there and into the back, and then what I like to do is just like tape up like everything that is not the 20-pin plug. Just means I remember to put everything in. You want to like take them back like a little bit here, just because you're still in a bit of like freedom with the wires, but it just helps tidy it up so you don't forget anything when you're plugging them in. And you can see I've plugged our like microphone into here. So that is basically everything done at like this end now. So I'll probably like tidy this up with a little bit of tape, and then I'll start doing the reverse camera before we actually put the unit back in. So we've just put the camera in the back there. Was probably the easiest place to put it without having to do some like major rewiring, because it's a bit hard for us to get into the panels in here, because ideally you could probably put it maybe on the door somewhere and like come through the cables here and get through the cables. We've just put it here like just because that's going to be the good option. We've just tapped into power off the reverse lights here. There was a plug going to the trailer plug, so we've just tapped our positive and like negative into there. Like negative you can just put to a chassis ground, a positive to the reverse light ground. Then we've run our wire like forward. We use a cable puller like to push it through the chassis rail as much as we could. So we've actually just gone through one of these holes, pushed it through, and then under here you've actually got a grommet. So 1, 2, 3, and there's actually 2 nuts underneath here that come off, and you can like pop off this like whole bit of like plastic, and we've just like popped that up the grommet, and we've tucked it under here a little bit more like a length here. We're gonna like run it up and plug it into our reverse camera input in there to get our reverse camera. Right, so now what we're going to do is just going to hook everything up. We've got everything like running in the back here. We've got our reverse camera coming into here, so that needs to go into our purple cam in. So that's going into there. Then I put all these cables in here like I said before. We've got our 20-pin main plug here. Then I like to tape them all up like this so we can see where they all are. So you can go through and put them all in. We've got our 4 USB there, which have actually plugged into our TPMS system. We've got our 2 USBs and our external microphone which we've run. We've got our auxiliaries which we have done, and one came unplugged, so these could be worth taping up just to make sure they don't come unplugged. So the 2 auxiliaries in like that. Into that one our reverse camera was in. This is our 4G SIM card. Now we've got our GPS antenna, the blue to the kind of like the blue one, purple to purple for our 4G antenna, and our radio like so. Now we've like tape this a little bit and tidied it up so it all fits in. Then what we like to do is to come to the front here. You can see we've got our tyre pressure things coming through, but what we want to check is that everything is like working as it should be. Right, so it's in there, so we want to check there's like a few things we obviously want to check. Right, so come back, scan a radio station. We've got sound and radio, that's good. Steering wheel controls are working, that's good. Reverse camera's working, that's all good. I'm going to turn off his lines obviously because they are not much good for where we've got the camera sitting. Yeah, so everything's like working as it is. Now, before we go and clip this like back in, just take note on the back of this frame here, this is like a clip-in fascia, where they are, because two options to fit this. You can actually take the whole thing off, or you can clip it in like we're going to do and just push it back and clip it in. But if you do need to get it out, just remember you probably have to get your trim tool in and push with those little clips. So you've got a tool on each side and then there's a one on the bottom, but normally only get one side undone and you can kind of lever the rest of the way out. And I just clipped it in, then it just pushes in with your hands. It's all pretty easy. You can see that that's the unit installed. All looks fairly flush and like factory. Yeah, so super easy to install here. We will include a cable puller in the kit and the Ford tools to pop out the old one. Installing it's pretty easy. We had to put the GPS up here and the external mic on here just because we didn't want, because all this is storage up the top of the dash and didn't want anything going on top of it. We ran our extra plugs into the glove box and we have our TPMS receiver down here, which we'll tuck up under here now. But overall a pretty easy install. It's just the reverse camera is going to take you a bit of time, so probably give yourself 2 to 3 hours to do the whole thing. So there you have it all installed. Wireless CarPlay or Android Auto obviously coming up there. Factory options, steering wheel controls are still working. We've kept the auxiliary port up the top there still working. I put the tyre pressure system on like this one, our tyre pressure app, as this guy uses this for his travelling wagon. So we've got our pressures and temps coming in from that. Obviously the radio and everything works. Got our reverse camera installed there. So all looking pretty good, and overall a good upgrade for these Transit wagons.